6:30. Let's have a show. Alright, not that comment. I didn't lose yesterday. Here we go. Cool. Alright. Slept pretty well last night. A little punchy. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Friday, January 31st, 2020. Last day of January. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. It's very hot. I can't believe we are. Good morning, Frank. I can't believe we're already a month into 2020. Like, a month is gone. 1/12, 8%. It's gone. I've already done it. I'm still behind from like 2006. I don't know what to do about that. Just keep doing what I can, I guess. Man. So, yesterday was a good day. It was a very busy day. It was a productive day. It was a day full of very little whistlekick work, to be honest. Good morning, Stacy. I spent about half a day doing some IT consulting and sent out a report to a client. What else did I do? I don't remember. What else did I do for Whistlekick? Responded to some emails. I think that was it, honestly. But that's all right. There's Whistlekick stuff happening today. So what's going on today? Today I will be, I'll be traveling to an area school, teaching a class or two. I don't know how many. I'm going there and teaching however many classes there are. Dropping off some uniforms. The school was one of two that pre-ordered Taekwondo uniforms. Oh. And, it only took 6 months for those to come in. So I'm going to deliver those. Work with the students on some sparring, and that'll be fun. It's a good group, but it's not a group I get to work with often. They're about an hour away, and the owner has been really supportive over the years, so that's been great, and then it'll be a fun time. Last night went to Kempo class, and we did a bunch of group sparring, self-defense stuff, all free form, and I always love that. It's just my favorite thing to do. So I had an absolute blast. I think we went long on class, and it was just great to see everyone progress. I really enjoy drills where they're done slow enough that people get to kind of practice and develop some comfort right there on the spot. And then as they do that, you can bring up the intensity a little bit. It's just fun. My favorite drills are those that are both free form and slower, or at least have the option of slower. So you could experiment, try things out. Pardon me. What's going on today? More consulting. What else happened? Shipping some sparring gear over to Amazon. Frank is offering the advice, when you write the date, don't just write 20, write 2020, because it could be changed on checks and contracts. Yes. there aren't a whole lot of things. I've seen that advice getting shared around. There aren't a whole lot of things in our lives that's going to have an impact. Really, it would be something with a contract where it's expiring or something like that. The worst case scenario, if somebody takes a check, if you, let's say you write, 131.20 on a check, and they change the year to 2017, they can't deposit the check. So they're not going to do that. Or at least most banks aren't going to let them deposit the check. That advice is kind of like the coronavirus. Like, it's out there, it exists, it's not a good thing if it happens to you, but the media is making a bigger deal of it than it is. I think the media is making a bigger deal of the coronavirus than it is. That or China's grossly underreporting the death toll. We'll find out. We'll find out soon. Maybe we'll all be dead. I hope not. That'd be pretty sucky. It's Friday and Frank threw us a joke. So what do we got? Why was the dog so sad? Because he had such a rough life. After Kempo class last night, we ended up at dinner, and I told a story that I thought was going to work, even though you kind of had to be there. And we've all done those. You get halfway through a story and people are just staring at you, and you're thinking, "Oh, why did he even try?" But I managed, because of this group of people, because they're all ridiculous and kind of nerdy, and the story was kind of nerdy, I was able to pull it out and get some laughter. So I appreciated that, and if any of them end up watching, thanks for laughing. Oh, I am glad it's Friday. I'm looking forward to sleeping in tomorrow. What else is going on this weekend? Sleeping in, hopefully getting outside, getting back to the gym. My back's finally feeling better. I didn't have any issues with it at class last night. I don't think I'm doing anything on Sunday. Yeah, so I think this weekend's a combination of sleep and doing things I enjoy. So that'll be good. My life is pretty enjoyable, though. I have a pretty good life. Yeah. Let's look at these questions. What's going on with the questions? What do you think of using apple cider vinegar to lose weight? Of all the wonderful things of good apple cider vinegar, I am unaware of a direct correlation with weight loss. However, I can see where it's possible. So, what is vinegar? Vinegar is unless you're using, the ultra processed stuff. Vinegar is a fermented food, like pickles or sauerkraut. And fermented foods carry with them bacteria. Bacteria is really important. In fact, depending on who you're reading and what you believe, our bodies have more bacteria cells than they do cells that are actually us. Between what's on our skin and what's in our digestive tract and our stomach and all that. I read something once that by weight we are roughly 1/3 bacteria. And whether or not those numbers are completely accurate, what every scientist would agree, any researcher that actually knows the subject would agree on, is that there are a lot of cells, there's a lot going on with us that's not us. Bacteria and us, we've got a symbiotic relationship. We need them. They're part of our digestion and so many other things. So foods like apple cider vinegar, again, pickles, sauerkraut, from these fermented foods that some would call prebiotics. Can be really good to help populate the bacteria in your gut. And the more of them down there, if they're the right ones, the better the job they can do. So it is possible, though not very common, that the bacteria in one's digestive tract has an inadequate amount of at least the right kind of bacteria. And if that is what's going on, that could make the whole digestion process not go so well. So having some apple cider vinegar could help with that. But I don't think that's very many people. But apple cider vinegar, any natural vinegar, I make my own vinegar. I make apple vinegar, I make pear vinegar. I don't use it very often. It usually goes on salads, and I don't eat very many salads in the winter. But it's there's a lot of interesting stuff about vinegar. Vinegar is one of these things that we've used for a very, very long time as a species, and we kind of went through this bout with modern science saying, hey, this thing doesn't do anything, and we went, oh wait, maybe it does. You're not going to hurt yourself using vinegar, unless you're, I don't know, maybe if you're drinking a whole bunch of it. Kombucha is kind of in the same boat too. Kombucha is pretty good for you. Everybody should have fermented foods in their diet. And apple cider vinegar doesn't have to be one of them, but it's one that's pretty easy to use because it works well on other things. As long as you're not cooking it, as long as you're using something that's got, some kind of chunky, floaty stuff in it, if it's all clear and processed like that, it's not really going to help you. At least not as much. Get the stuff that looks like it's dirty. That's the good stuff. Check it out. It's flu season. Any tips to avoid the flu? Well, you can become a hermit. That doesn't work too well for most people, though. Best thing you can do is remain healthy. What are the things that keep you healthy that are easy to do? Get some exercise. Get some sunlight. Probably supplement with some vitamin D. Make sure you're moving. Make sure you're getting exercise. Did I say drinking adequate water? Do that. Reduce your dairy consumption. And when you feel like you might have something coming on, eliminate dairy. Oh, get plenty of sleep. Get even more sleep if you feel something coming on. Drink tons of water. Reduce exercise. Just keep with movement. Frank's saying he drinks green tea to help his immune system, which is great. When I feel something coming on, I tend to go real high dose with vitamin C, like emergency. I'll have a packet of that. If I know I'm going to be around a bunch of people that I don't know, or just feel like it might be time, I'll use Airborne. Those effervescent tablets. Those work pretty well. that's it. I think that's what I got. It can be tough. I mean, part of being in society is we're gonna share germs. We're gonna share our illnesses around. Um, Assuming that you believe in evolution, this is part of natural selection. This idea that we have these things that kind of run through our species, and you go, oh, they didn't make it. Of course, on an individual level, it really stinks, and nobody wants that. But from a macro level, it's kind of an important part of strengthening the species, which is kind of like strengthening martial arts. Frank says, "You want to talk about germs? I work at a grocery store." Yeah, dude, I'm sure it's pretty nasty there. Oh, I neglected to mention my favorite suggestion: hand sanitizer. Not the alcohol-based stuff. Uh, there's a product from a company called Clean Well that I use, and they make an essential oil-based, it's oregano oil-based sanitizer. And I buy that stuff in like 12 packs and keep them everywhere. They're in every gym bag and car and bathroom, and I use it for everything. They're absolutely wonderful product. And every time I get in the car, I spray my hands. And I don't get sick very often. I also try not to touch my face unless I'm, home and have washed my hands. Those are my suggestions there. What do you think of pressure cookers? It's an old technology that's come back. What is the Ninja Foodie is the big one that everybody's using. I don't have one. I've never had one. I don't think I've ever used one. Most of the things I cook pretty fast in a frying pan. I mean, that's how I cook most of my food. Frying pan on the stove. Sometimes it's the pot on the stove. The one kind of pressure cooker gadgety thing that I've thought about getting is a rice cooker, because that would require less work. It'd be a little more exact than cooking rice in a pot. But I don't cook rice that often. I'm up to a few times a month. I definitely don't do it as much over the summer. But most of what I'm cooking is, fish and eggs and frozen veggies and things that cook pretty quickly. If I was someone who, if I ate beef, or if I was doing, more complicated meals, yeah, I think pressure cooking is a pretty cool idea. And I think it's interesting that we're kind of recycling this idea that this is back and people are loving it so much. And that's great. I have an air fryer. I'll use that. It makes awesome fish. Mostly what I use it for is potatoes. It's the one thing that it works really well for. I bet you could cook a baked potato in a pressure cooker faster. I like baked potatoes, but never make them because, as Mitch Hedberg, the comedian Mitch Hedberg said, I like baked potatoes. Sometimes I just put a potato in the oven because by the time it's done, who knows? They take forever. Frank says they sell the Instapot at the store. That's the one I was thinking of. I used the wrong name though. The Instapot's the one that everybody has. And I see people trading meals on Facebook, and that's cool. The more food we're preparing for ourselves rather than, microwaving or dumping out of a box, the healthier it'll be. I've got this saying that I remind myself when I'm deliberating how, especially if I'm traveling. Like yesterday, I was out of the house at 8:30 and didn't get back until 10 p.m. And I brought 2 meals worth of food with me. And if I hadn't gone out to dinner with the folks from Kempo, I still had extra food I could have eaten. But what I remind myself is everything inside my house is healthier than anything outside my house. Stacy says, wash your hands to the Jeopardy tune. She works at a hospital. I bet that's where you got that. Yeah, just food quality. The more you prepare for yourself, the better. And there are all kinds of tricks to making it faster. And honestly, if you find ways to prepare food that you enjoy, that's the way to do it. I like cooking. I like cooking when I have time to cook and when there aren't other things that I want to do more, which I'll probably, not tonight, maybe tomorrow night, maybe Sunday night, cook up a few meals for the week. And what's in those? It's usually a base of rice, and then I add vegetables to, depending on the meal, and then I add eggs or maybe fish too. Do I cook on cast iron? I like to, but I don't like cleaning it. I don't like maintaining it. I've had cast iron in the past, and it's more work than it's, for me, it's more work than it's worth. I use cheap ceramic coated nonstick pans, and if I was going to put money into some pans, they would be cast iron with a ceramic coating. There's some nice stuff out there. Good questions today, guys. All right, I'm gonna go get ready for the day. It's Friday, so I'm not giving you homework, but here are some things you might want to keep in mind. If you want to support the show, you've got a couple ways. You can go to whistlekick.com and use the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15%. You can go to patreon.com/whistlekick and become a Patreon contributor. And if you do, you get original content, blog posts, photos, videos. There's more. The more you're willing to contribute, the more we're going to give back to you. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell because we do this show weekdays at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Check out Martial Arts Radio. Check out all the other things that we've got going on. It's all for you. We're just trying to help the traditional martial arts, lend some support, some inspiration. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic weekend, and I will see you back here on Monday. Take care.